Yet again, we are facing an ethics issue that touches the technical community, and we're still having trouble articulating that problem, separating conflated issues, and training the young members of our community in the issues of trust. Hi, this is David Allen Greer, and today's topic is the hidden persuader. Perhaps it is misguided to think of the Volkswagen scandal only in terms of its effects upon the engineering community. It is a selfish approach. After all, the entire Earth has been dirtied by diesel engines that were originally described as clean. Widows and orphans and hedge fund managers have lost their savings in the fall of Volkswagen stock. Managers will fall from grace as actions, legal and political, attempt to explain the wrongs and set things right. However, our task is to understand how the technical community may have been damaged by Volkswagen's efforts to sell a car that was engineered to lie. At base, the Volkswagen scandal is a software problem. The modern car is really nothing more than a mobile computer that combines processors, sensors, backbones, and data links. Increasingly, we engineer new automotive features by writing a program to exploit the underlying information architecture. However, one of the fundamental tasks of engineering is to hide. We hide complexity. We hide details. We hide the elements that distract from the final use of our creation. Software, perhaps more than any other form of engineering, takes pride in what it hides by occasionally revealing things that have been carefully masked by our own work. We allow users to find undocumented features, expanded functionality, even the identities of the people who created the software. Such things only remind us that the public face of software can conceal much. Just as software hides the details of engineering, so corporate structures tend to cloak the role of the engineer from the public. Only a few companies give the engineering staff a prominent public role. Most commonly, they wrap the engineers in a cocoon and confine the contacts of these engineers to people within the organization: product managers, financial staff, marketing personnel, risk managers. Within such a cocoon, the VW engineering staff accepted software that allowed a car to detect when it was being tested for engine emissions, and then lie, adjust its output to mislead the inspectors. At this point, we do not know the exact role of the VW engineering staff in the creation of the lying automobile. They may have designed and promoted the fraudulent software, or they might have agreed to it, cautiously, anxiously, under the threat of a dismissal. Or perhaps they took an approach that falls somewhere between those two extremes. My greatest fear is that we'll find that the VW engineers honestly embraced dishonesty. When presented with a set of constraints, they used their technical skills to find a solution without thinking about the ramifications of their work, and let someone else think about the ethical consequences. They did not see the fraud because the fraud lay outside the task at their hand. In ethics literature, we divide the problem of engineering ethics into two categories: actions we take so that we trust each other as technical personnel, actions we take so that the public trusts us. The first is hard enough, but as a whole, we feel more comfortable with it. The early engineering commuting literature tried to solve this problem by restricting the field to people with a common education, common background, common family heritage. As the field has become more diverse, we have been stretched and been forced to expand our sense of what holds us together and to build a conscious foundation that allows us to trust each other because we have a commitment to common habits of practice. We attempt to solve the second problem, that of gaining the public's trust, by building on the foundation of trust that we have with each other. An early version of the ethics statements of the IRE, a precursor of the IEEE, instructed all of its members to determine the legitimacy of all enterprises with which they connected themselves. It said, if, after become associated with a firm, any member finds them to be questionable of nature, they should sever their connection as soon as possible. It's good advice, if somewhat naive. Evil lies. It tells you in the most charming of voices that it's attempting to accomplish the most noble of goals, and that it would be most grateful for our technical help. Perhaps most frighteningly, it can hide in our own thoughts and make us believe that we are creating a solution when we are actually creating a problem. We'll not have a clear picture of the VW story for months, if not years. Given the nature of the problem and the scale of the problem, we may have to accept the conclusion that any report will affix some blame to the engineering community. If engineers can make technology tell the truth, it may conclude, engineers can make it lie. Such statement would capture the lesson that we must learn and impart to the rising generation of engineers. We don't start by asking the public to trust us or even our peers. Lies are more subtle than we might like. They can hide themselves in our products, our companies, or even in our own best engineered thoughts. This is David Allen Greer for the Errant Hashtag. Take care.